Welcome to a very miserable, not that I'm miserable, but a very miserable, dreary Thursday. Thursday, the 7th of August. Yeah, it is cold, it is damp, it's rainy. Good weather is on its way. Good weather is on its way. You've heard it here first. I'm a little bit late this morning. I was meant to be on at 9:30. Why am I a little bit late this morning, Wilma? Because I was waiting for your dad to come and drop me off. Well, yes, we've got Wilma again till Tuesday. Do you want to come say hello? Do you want to come say hello? Come here. Come here. Oh, now this is going to make Blossom very scared, but this is Wilma's. Hi, Wilma. Oh, you good girl, aren't you? This is the reason why we've got Blossom, because you're a good girl, aren't you? And we were like, ooh, cockapoos. We're like, cockapoos. I don't know. And you're feeling a bit down in the Blossom. You don't need. I'm going to get two cockapoos now. And don't you growl at her because she's come to say hello. But yeah, Wilma's you're a bit needy, aren't you? Because your dad's just dropped you off, so you're coming in. But this is Wilma. So yes, we were waiting for Wilma to be dropped off. I know. Do you want to go down? Do you want to go in your bed? You can go in your bed. You like your bed, don't you? See a little safe space. But you're a good girl, aren't you? I know. Actually, I've got a Blossom now looking at like, what are you stroking her for, Dad? They do get on really well, to be fair. Anyway, Wilma, I'm going to put you down now because I'm doing a live. All right, but I just thought you might want to come and say hello. She would sit here for the full hour. She would sit here for the full hour. Right, go on. You go in your bed. Good girl. Go and get in your bed. That's it. Good girl. Right, that's it. So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit late this morning. We're waiting for Wilma to drop us off. We pretty much got Wilma for August. We've had her for a week last week. We've got her today until Tuesday night or even Wednesday morning. And then we've got for the last 2 weeks of August. So yeah, you've moved in, haven't you? Yeah, I know. Oh, you good girl. Yeah. Anyway, right, there we go. Right, let's do top 5 on TikTok this morning. Let's see who's in. Cam's in at number 1. Paul is in at number 2. Mr. Dodds is in at number 3. Kelly's in at number 4. Dan Baxter is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. You're on my top 5 this morning. Thank you very much, as always, for jumping straight alive, coming and saying hello. Mr. John Jackson's in as well. Good morning. Paul is in. I have a 1-year-old. Happy birthday, Milo. Give him a hug from me. Audrey's in. Good morning. Karen, morning. Lise. Paul's in here. Oh, morning. Paul says morning, Wilma. I know. She's a very anxious dog, is our Wilma, aren't you? And you're quite a nervous little bean at times, but you're all right. She'll be down in the dumps for today and tomorrow, even though she only went home on Sunday and she's come back today. You'll be down in the dumps for a little bit, won't you? Just for a day or two, and then you'll settle in and you'll be happy as Larry. You get spoiled here because you're not allowed it on the bed at home, but you sleep on the bed with us here. Well, until you go in your bed at night time, but you're allowed to come on the bed for a cuddle. So she just. Like our dogs, they just rule the house, basically, is how it goes. Amy, good morning. Anyway, how is everyone? Are we all right? I forgot to Thursday. Can someone answer me that? You know, we say this every week, don't we? Like, times like, how have we got to Thursday? I always sit there. Tuesday, I'm always like, oh, I've got ages left. And now on Thursday, I'm like, flipping heck, I've got loads to do. I'm a bit behind this week, actually, with I've been doing a lot of content, a lot of online content. My pina colada yogurt bowl, ignore it. It was awful. It wasn't awful. I've made it again this morning. And it was delicious. I think it's the frozen pineapple from Aldi. I made it, tried it yesterday, and I was like, what's wrong with that? Anyway, I made it again to film it. And I think it's the frozen pineapple. I don't know. I'm defrosting some frozen pineapple as we speak. I'm going to taste it. It was absolutely rank. The yogurt bowl this morning, it had like a really weird aftertaste. Anyway, I've made it again with tinned pineapple. Stunning. Absolutely delicious. Really, really good. So I don't know if it's the pineapple sitting in the yogurt with the coconut overnight that's changed the flavour, or if it's just the pineapple. So I've defrosted some pineapple. If the pineapple defrosted from Aldi is delicious, then something's not reacting right with it. So it's one of them. It might be like, make it fresh, don't make it overnight. I don't know. Anyway, I'll keep you updated. I will have a recipe video out for you. Well, I had one on YouTube yesterday. My turkey and chicken mixed bean chili is out on YouTube. It's a belter. Brilliant for meal prep. I messed up the portion sizes a little bit. Nothing major. I've put corrections in the video. And what I've actually done is in the description to the video where I always put the ingredients, I've put the link so you can split basically I thought it's 2.5 kilos. Is the raw ingredients going into a pan is 2.5 kilos, right? It's a big pan of food, right? I never took into account evaporation. So as you cook it, yeah, cook it off. What is it? Yeah, liquid evaporates, doesn't it, to thicken it up a bit. Never took that into consideration. So your 2.5 kilos that goes in the pan actually ends up being 2 kilos. Now it is a pretty thick chili, so you could add some extra stock to it when it's cooked out to thin it out a little bit, and that would make it quite a bit runnier. So that would increase the volume, right? That would massively increase the volume. So you could split it into bigger portions. Just add a cup of chicken stock or veg stock to it, a couple of 300-400 mils. It wouldn't thin it out. It might thin it out a bit too much. Maybe a couple 100 mils. But anyway, if you split it into 400 gram portions, you split it. I put the links to track both. So it depends what your calorie allowance is, Right, anyway, there you go. You'll see. Go see the recipe. It's a good recipe. Emma's put maybe the acid from the pineapple affecting the yogurt. Could be. I don't know. Because I made it yesterday with the frozen pineapple. No, I didn't. I'm lying. I made it with just coconut and yogurt to taste it, to make sure that there was enough coconut in there with the amount. Because desiccated coconut's pretty calorific. So I used 15 grams, which is like 78 calories. It's like desiccated coconut's like the same calories as like peanut butter, right? So yeah, I added that into it. So I'm also now thinking, do I go more for a coconut cream rather than desiccated coconut to bring the calories down, and maybe just put a sprinkle of desiccated coconut on top? I don't know. I'm going to play about with it. Normally when I think of a recipe, it just comes together and it normally tastes really, really good. Well, how could it not? It's pineapple, it's yogurt, it's coconut. It's going to taste good. But yeah, maybe it is the pineapple, or maybe it's just a really sour, not very tasty, nice pineapple. I like using frozen fruit in yogurt bowls, volume and cost effectiveness. And does anyone think like frozen fruit has a stronger flavour? Like if you eat like maybe more of an artificial flavour, not artificial, I don't know how to describe it. Like if you eat a frozen strawberry, I know the texture of frozen strawberry isn't that nice. It's a bit like a slug, because that's what happens when you freeze veg at times. Certain veggies just don't freeze that great, do they? But a frozen strawberry. But the flavour in a frozen strawberry is a very strawberry flavour. Does that make sense? And I don't know if it's the freezing process that draws the flavour out or what. I have no idea. And it just works ace in like yogurt bowls and stuff. So that's what I thought with the pineapple. But I used tinned pineapple this morning. So I'm making I'm going to make a tinned pineapple yogurt bowl, pina colada yogurt bowl, leave it overnight and see if that goes the same way. It's like Emma says there, is it the acid from the pineapple reacting with the yogurt? I don't know. But I've made yogurt bowls with blueberries, raspberries, and I know they've probably not got as much citric acid in them. So I don't know. Is it the acid in the pineapple turning the yogurt? I don't know. Help me out. Right. Let me just sort that one out. Anna, good morning all. Good morning. Morning, Neil. Have you tried the Perform Whey Hydrate? I have. I've had the shots. They're pretty decent. I've not tried just buying their powder. They're quite salty. Normally, the shots are concentrated. Now, don't get me wrong. You only need to use an electrolyte if you do vigorous exercise. That is it, right? So I'll have one after I do my spin class when I've sweated for 45 minutes. Other than that, if you're someone that's just like, oh, I struggle with hydration because I struggle to drink water, so I'll take electrolyte. They're not there for that. What electrolytes do is they replace the things that retain water in your body, right? That's all electrolytes do, right? So when we exercise vigorously and we sweat a lot, our sweat extracts a lot of essential minerals from our body. Certainly salt is a big one. We sweat a lot of sodium out. You need sodium in your body to retain water. You have to retain water There's a difference between retaining water and having excess water retention, right? So if I do a 45-minute spin class, you can wring my t-shirt, I'm soaking wet, right? And I'll be quite dehydrated, even though I drink water all the way through my workout. So when I have an electrolyte, it replaces the essential minerals that I've sweated out, and bang, my body will retain water again nicely, and that will rehydrate me, which is great for recovery from exercise. That's the only reason why you need to take an electrolyte, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain situations where if you are very dehydrated, you're struggling to eat. So a lot of people might take, like you have saline solution in hospital where people are dehydrated. That's kind of what an electrolyte is. It's like a saline solution, right? So people are very dehydrated and they go onto a drip. That drip just isn't water. It's a saline solution, which is salt water basically. And again, it's to hold water in people's bodies to rehydrate them. But that might be because someone's not drunk anything for a week, or they've got really bad D&V, or they've just got a really bad illness. And there might be some other situations where electrolytes are, if you are taking a water tablet at the moment, a diuretic that's making you pee a lot, then electrolytes might be prescribed. So there might be some other sort of things. But generally, for everyday people, it's just there to rehydrate you after exercise, yeah? I'm after the way hydrate for my bike rides now that I'm doing longer rides. Yeah, absolutely, Josh, perfectly. So if you go on a 2-hour bike ride, especially if it's hot, and you're constantly sweating, so you sweat when you sit in an aerobic, you'll sweat to cool your body down, but when you're exercising, you sweat when you're sat in your aerobic zone. And your aerobic zone is 60 to 80% of maximum. And you'll only be able to exercise for long periods of time if you're in your aerobic zone. So going for a jog, you'll be in your aerobic. If you can do a 5K, 20, half an hour jog, right? 35-minute jog, whatever the time is, right? You'll be sitting in your aerobic zone and you'll sweat a lot. When I do my spin class, I normally hover around 150 beats per minute on my heart rate. That for me is aerobic, is my aerobic zone. Don't go wrong, I take my workouts anaerobic in spin and it'll drop down, but on average I'm at 150. So sometimes I'll be at 130, sometimes I'll be at 170, but I sit about 150 and I'm dripping sweat all the way through my class, right? So yeah, anything like that, perfect. Straight out, within 15, 20 minutes of finishing, get yourself an electrolyte down you, get them essential minerals back into your body, rehydrate yourself, and you'll just, if you're finishing a workout and you're absolutely knackered and you're sweating and you're a bit like so there, take electrolyte, soak that water up and you'll ping, it'll bring you back to life. Also get some carbs in there as well, right? Frozen blueberries are the way forward. Love them. Absolutely love them. I love blueberries. I love blueberries anyway. So I said boobies, I think. They're all right as well. I love blueberries, right? The only issue with blueberries, not an issue, they don't have much fibre in them. Full of antioxidants. Yeah, full of antioxidants. Very, very full of antioxidants. Very, very healthy. Lots of vitamins, lots of minerals in there. They're quite low in fibre. So, I've been concentrating a lot this year on creating meals that are high protein, which I've always done, but also making sure there's trying to get a decent amount of fibre in there. So don't get me wrong, I do like blueberry white chocolate protein bowl. Right? Rachel loves it. When I do that, I add 10 grams of chia seeds in there to bump the fibre up a little bit. All right, and there is some fibre in blueberries, just not loads. Whereas, if you did blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries and strawberries have ridiculous amounts of fibre in them for the calories. Very, very good. And that's the thing with that pina colada yogurt bowl. Pineapple doesn't have much fibre in it. So I add chia seeds to it, So yeah, it's blueberries are amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm gonna late start this morning after Milo had me up in the night as he was playing. Oh, bless him. Hope he's all right. Right, let me scan up. I don't like hearing about. Yeah, someone tells me a human's poorly. I'm like, they'll get over it. Someone tells me a dog's poorly. I'm like, all right. What causes lactic burn? Lactic burn. I assume you're talking about the buildup of lactic acid in our muscles. Basically, it's intense exertion of your muscle builds up lactic acid. And that's the burn you feel in your muscles when you are training. So basically, if I'm doing a bicep curl and I'm doing this is, I'm using my bicep quite intensely. It's not like, and it's a muscle that's not, this is a movement I don't really do that often in everyday life. And when you do this and you stretch and contract the muscle over time, lactic acid builds up. Why? I don't actually know. It's just something that forms in the muscle. There'll be a scientific reason for it. I don't actually know that. But you do get a buildup of lactic acid. And as your lactic acid builds up, it does start to burn. And that is then that's then when we're on like our 10th, 11th, 12th rep. And you're like, ugh. Now don't get me wrong, your muscle will fatigue, but you get a burn in your muscle. You're like, whoa, right. And then you need to rest to let that lactic acid flush out of the muscle, right? Lactic acid takes between 15 seconds and 5 minutes to flush out the muscle, but it has a shelf life in there, like a half-life, as it were. So, after 15 seconds, you'll have flushed out 50% of the lactic acid. After a minute, half of that again will have gone. After another minute, half of that again will have gone. And that's why if you keep your workouts quite intense, so your rest periods might be half an hour between losing weight, you'll fatigue quicker. So you might be able to do 20 bicep curls before the burn, or feel the burn, right? Before that takes over, then you need to rest. If you then have just so you might, let's say you're doing a bicep curl with an 8 key dumbbell, right? 8 key dumbbell, and it takes 20 reps, 25 reps before your bicep starts burning. Yeah. And then you rest for 30 seconds. When you go back in, you probably won't be able to do 25 reps again. That burn might kick in at 16 because you've only given 30 seconds for a certain amount of lactic acid flush out. So there's still some in there when you're starting next exercise. And this is why, as you progress through sets exercising, it should get harder. Because then it's 16. Then I give it another 30 seconds rest. There's still a good amount of lactic acid. And now I can only do 12. Right? And progressing your workout is about, picking a weight where you can do 10 reps for 3 sets, 4 sets, 5 sets. And then as you work through the sets, it gets harder and harder and harder. To the point of your last set, you really struggle with the burn. You feel the burn. You really struggle to do it. That's it. So first set might be quite straightforward. And this is why we have working sets and warm-up sets. So, when I was a PT, their working set might be with 10 kilo dumbbells to press. But I'll do some warm-up sets where I'll be like, right, we're going to use 4 key dumbbells, really, really light. We're going to do 20 reps, 30 seconds rest. That'll activate the muscle, it'll warm the muscle up, warm the area up that we're working. Now we're going to go into your working sets. 3 sets of 10, and you'll find that really, really tough, right? And you're not going to risk injury because you've warmed up the area quite nicely. So there's so many different, training doesn't need to be complicated. It really doesn't. The more simple you keep it, the more effective it'll be. But there are certain elements that it's not just sometimes, depending on how you want to train and how you want to progress your training, sometimes sometimes it's just it's about how you structure your workouts, how you progress your workouts. There are some little bits that, look, if you're going into a gym now and you're just going in there, you're following like one of my workout programs off my website, they're going to do you great. But if you really get into your training and you really want to progress and you want to build a bit of a physique and really work on strengthening joints, increasing some muscle mass, really changing your body composition, then there's a bit more to it. There really, really is. It's and it sounds complicated. Something only sounds complicated if it's hard, but your first few exercises should be what we call compound exercises. Your last few exercises should be what we call isolation exercises. Compound exercises where we use more than one muscle to move a weight. So if you're doing chest day, a chest press is a compound exercise because, yes, you predominantly use your pectoral muscles, but you'll also use your front deltoids and you'll also use your triceps. So you're using 3 different muscle groups to move that weight, right? But on chest day, at the end of your workout, you might do some pectoral flies, right? And pectoral flies, predominantly, you'll use a tiny smidge of, but really, your pectoral fly is an isolation move, whether it's a fly on a bench with a dumbbell or whether you're on a cable machine, is more of an isolation move. that just uses the thing. Your isolation weights, your isolation exercises are going to be a lot less weight than your compound weight because you're using less muscle. All right, a bicep curl is an isolation move, right? Because it is pretty much predominantly just using that bicep. You are stretching that bicep out to control the weight on extension, and you're contracting that bicep to control the weight on flexion. That's it. There's no other muscle that's taking over. I mean, there's a couple of stabilization muscles, but nothing that intense. Whereas if you do a seated row and you're pulling in, you're predominantly using your lats here, right? But you're still going to be using your bicep a little bit because you're still stretching and contracting the bicep. So seated row is a compound movement. We do them more towards the beginning of the exercise, not towards the end. So it's just little bits and pieces, you know. I love talking about training. I'm not a personal trainer online. I don't class myself as one because I'm a weight loss coach. But if any of my clients want guiding with exercise and going to the gym, I love doing it. I absolutely love it. But I don't want to be a PT. I don't want to be these people in the gym. This is how you do a lat pull down. I do have workouts on my website you can buy, and I'm doing the exercises, but it's not my bag really. I do enjoy one-to-one training, but I've tried to do it online before with and I'm just the market's very saturated anyway, and I just can't be bothered with it. I mean, the weight loss market's very, very saturated, but sometimes with business, you just need to pick your niche, and that's what I've got. I've got my USP, I've got my niche, I've got and that's what I want. I don't want to go down too many different roads. Yeah. Thoughts on last thing to eat before bed? Currently running 3 to 4 times a week. I don't know. Like, in what way, Stephen? Right? What are you asking me that for? And I don't, as in, what do I enjoy? Eat before. Are you asking for recovery? Are you asking for repair overnight? Are you asking just because I like eating at night time, but I'm scared I'll gain weight to it? Basically, you can eat whatever you want at night time, right? If you're just like, I like eating an evening snack, what's the best thing? Eat something you enjoy eating, whether that be a Mars bar or whether that be a bag of crisps or a banana or an apple or a yogurt. Yeah. Eat what you enjoy eating. Yeah. As long as it's within your calories, you're all good. Some people say, well, if you eat a Mars bar before bed, all that sugar, it'll just turn to fat. Yeah, it will. You eat a Mars bar at 10 o'clock in the morning before going to the gym, the calories in that Mars bar will turn to fat. That Mars bar will turn to fat in your body. Everything we eat pretty much turns to fat in our body because we have to convert it into an energy that we can use. So it doesn't matter whether you eat at 10 o'clock or at night. And again, some people are like, well, if you have a Mars bar at 10 o'clock at night time, the worst thing about having something like a Mars bar at 10 o'clock at night time is it is going to give you a bump of energy. So it might be detrimental to sleep, right? So it's like having caffeine before you go to bed. If you eat something that will, raise blood sugars, increase glycogen in your system, digest very, very quickly, it'll give you a boost of energy. And I don't really want to eat anything that's going to give me a boost of energy before I go to bed, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy a few crisps at night time, right? I do. But I tend to eat like 15 grams. So 15 grams of crisps, which is a pure carbohydrate and it will digest quickly and it will give me a little boost of energy, is nothing compared to eating a Mars bar. Alongside that, last night I had some lentil chips, right? 20 grams before I went to sleep. But I had not a Mars bar, I had a protein bar as well. And protein is slow digestion, right? So although those lentil chips might digest relatively quickly, because they do, it's the proper lentil chips. They sort of marketed as being healthier than normal crisps. They're not. Right? They just taste nice. I like them. That's why I eat them. But if you eat anything that might increase blood sugars and give you a boost of energy, if you eat that with a decent amount of protein or fiber, right, it will slow that release of energy down, which won't give you that energy boost. So that'd be the worst thing about eating a Mars bar just before bed. It'll probably affect your sleep pattern, right? You might struggle to fall asleep, or likewise, you might wake up in the middle of the night, or you might have some bad dreams, you might toss and turn. That's it. So, now if you're someone that's massive into your muscle building or training, something to have, and we repair at night time when we're asleep. That's when the body heals itself. How many of you guys go to sleep with like a really bad back? Or, when you're asleep, your body can then dedicate energy and time to heal in different areas because it's not dedicating energy and time to talking, walking, brain function. Everything's a lot calmer. It's when you repair, right? And you might go, oh yeah, God, my back yesterday was knackered. And I woke up this morning, it was quite a bit better. Yeah, because your body's had time to heal it overnight. You heal quite a lot overnight time. If you're someone that wants to heal things like muscle overnight, I recommend a casein protein shake. They don't mix very well. They're nowhere near as good as whey protein, but it's very slow digested protein, very slow indeed. Right? So while you're asleep, if your aim for eating before bedtime is to aid recovery overnight, a casein protein shake will sit on your stomach and it will feed protein slowly through the night. A lot of bodybuilders, they can lose muscle mass overnight. If you're a bodybuilder, you're absolutely hench, right? You can lose muscle mass overnight by not feeding your muscles. Only a smidge, but to a competitive bodybuilder, a smidge can be the difference between first and fifth, right? So a lot of bodybuilders will have a casein protein shake before going to sleep. Some bodybuilders will wake up after 4 hours and eat and then go back to sleep and then wake up again. They'll eat every 4 hours all the way through the night. Bonkers. Not for me, but they do, I'm skinny fat. What do I do? Change body composition. So the term skinny fat, basically, you're in healthy weight, but you don't like the way you look in the mirror, right? You've got like a little bit of a belly. You've not got any muscle definition. You're just a bit, that's what the definition of skinny fat is, right? So it's basically, BMI scale, your BMI's all right. Your body weight's fine, but you're just a bit out of shape. You need to change body composition. How do you change body composition? Well, it could be a case of possibly losing a little bit of body fat, but it's a case of building muscle. It would be a case of building muscle. It would be going to the gym and changing your physique for the better, right? So it would be, that's what you need to do. And, you might go into a small calorie deficit, right? Just to trim out a little bit of body fat to lean up a little bit. But you probably, someone comes to me and they're like, I'm skinny fat, right? And I want to go for, I look like this in the mirror and I want to look a bit more toned. I want a bit of definition in my chest, arms, shoulders out a little bit of a V taper. So my shoulders are a bit wider than my waist. I put them in a small calorie deficit. I probably would give them a protein target because their main goal is not weight loss. Their main goal is body composition. And when your main goal is recomping your body, then yeah, we might want to hit certain amounts. I don't give any of my weight loss clients macros to hit, as it were, proteins, fats, carbs. There's no need. You're on a weight loss journey. And if you're currently going to a gym, hitting your calories, losing weight and training well, you're going to recomp your body anyway, but it's not your main goal. Now you get to your goal weight, right? And then you're like, right, now I'm at my goal weight. I know I'm fitter, I'm stronger. I know the composition of my body has changed, but now I want to take it up a notch, right? I'd be like, right. And again, there with someone that's skinny fat, if they come to me and go, they've never been to a gym before, I actually wouldn't give them a macro breakdown. I would literally like, let's just get you training. Let's improve your overall diet. We don't need to stick to specific numbers. Let's improve your protein intake. Again, we don't need to stick to specific numbers, but let's have a protein shake mid-morning and one mid-afternoon, right? That's 40 grams of protein. So you're going to get 80 grams of protein in just from your shakes and then improving your overall diet, you're going to be good. I'd probably do that actually for about 12 months. If after 12 months they're still committed and they're still doing it, that's when we might go into a few more specifics. How can I easily work out a high protein food by a food label? Good question. So if it's an individual item, So chicken, eggs, right? Yogurt, something like that. We look at what's called protein or calorie to protein ratio. And a good rule of thumb is 10 calories for 1 gram of protein. Now, if it doesn't quite hit that, it doesn't mean it's a terrible thing, but that's just a general rule of thumb. If it doesn't quite hit that, we then might look into it. Is it a single product? So what I mean by that is, is there, it might be labeled as a protein product, something like that, but does it actually have a decent amount of carb? Is it really a carb? So if you went to, say, Aldi and picked up a protein flatbread, right? They're 230 calories for 13 grams of protein. So if something's 230 calories, for that 10-to-1 ratio, you want 23 grams of protein. Well, this has only got 13, so it's a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. It's a carbohydrate, right? Let's compare it to a normal flatbread. A normal flatbread is roughly the same calories, and it has 8 grams of protein in it. Now, 5 grams of protein might not seem like a lot, but if every time you eat something, you can increase it by 5 grams of protein, that might be an extra 20 to 30% grams of protein a day in your diet over a week. That really adds up. Small changes, big results. So it depends what the product is. I see loads of people online picking up a protein yogurt going, this isn't, it's not meant to be like an amazing source of protein, a protein flatbread or a protein crumpet or a protein wrap, right? What it is a higher protein version of a standard wrap or flatbread. Now, so that 10-to-1 rule is irrelevant. 10-to-1 rule is relevant for something that is a protein. So you might look at something like, I don't know, a pepperami. Right? Pepperami is meat. It's processed meat. Right? It's highly processed meat, to be fair. And I love a pepperami. I'm not saying don't eat them. And they're a good little snack. And they do have 5 grams of protein in, but for about 100 calories. So I wouldn't class a pepperami. You're getting 1 gram of protein for 20 calories. Now, I'm not saying every now and then it's not a good thing to eat, but because I do, they're good as a little snack, right? But I wouldn't class it as a high protein food. But I also wouldn't expect anything that's a carbohydrate to be a high protein food. But if I can get a carbohydrate that's got a bit more protein in and it tastes good, and then that's it. But that 10-to-1 ratio. So if you're looking at something like cheese, cheese isn't necessarily a good source of protein because it's mainly a fat. But then if we look at, say, a Babybel Light, 40 calories for 5 grams of protein, that blitzes the 10-to-1 ratio. Great little snack. Same with fridge raiders. The light cheese slices from Aldi, 40 calories, 4.5 grams of protein. And that protein's from dairy, Yes, it's a plastic cheese, but the protein in there is from dairy. Just because it's had different things added to it to make it rubbery is what it is. You can actually make it itself. It's only one substance. You can buy it off Amazon. I've thought about making my own American cheese slices, but you can basically make like a bechamel, but with a lot of cheese in it, and then you add this thing to it, and it rubberizes the cheese, and then you can slice it like a protein cheese. I can't bother to buy it, right? But they're not actually as bad as what people call plastic cheese and stuff. They're not actually. It's just one thing it's like a certain acid that's added to it that causes a reaction. I can't remember the name of it. I've seen people make them on TikTok. Anyway, there we go. Let me scan up and see what's going on. Literally healthy weight. Should I eat on maintenance? Yeah, I would. If someone's skinny fat, they want to change their body composition. It's not something you can change overnight. So it's kind of like what we're going to prioritize. So yeah, you could eat your calorie maintenance, which means you're not going to lose any body fat. But if you eat a decent amount of protein and your training's good, you're still going to change your shape of your body. Like I say, the only time actually you really need to tap into for body recomp, the only time you ever really need to dial into like macros and maybe looking at different things is it depends how far you want to take it. If you've never trained before and that, just go into it, not even concentrating on eating more protein, just going to the gym and training, your body's going to adapt a certain amount. We only then need to look into more specifics, depending on how much you want to progress, basically. Why are some areas harder to see results? Bingo wings, for example. There's a big thing with bingo wings. So, certain your smaller muscles take a bit longer to develop because you can't put as much into them sometimes. Sometimes it's just down to poor training. Sometimes bingo wings, as we call them, is just loose skin. And if you've got loose skin on your arms through either weight loss, you're always going to have loose skin on your arms. Like I've been training now for years, right? I've been lifting weights properly for about 8 years, right? I've got bingo wings. They ain't going anywhere, right? And I could go to the gym for another 10 years. I could start taking performance enhancing drugs and building the muscle in my arm. I'll never build enough muscle to get rid of that waggle. That ain't going anywhere. I've got a bit of muscle, right? And I've got a bit of tricep, and that fills up a bit, but I'll never build enough muscle to get rid of that, right? That's just the way it is, And it's all down to your training and how good are you in the gym? How much do you push yourself? Do you train to failure? Again, if you walk into the gym and train and you're new to the gym environment, you're going to get yourself so far. You are going to change your body. But to then take it to the next level, if you want to build a good amount of muscle and really change your body, that takes, it just doesn't, if you see someone in a gym and they're absolutely in great shape, that takes serious work, serious dedication. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, do we really want? I don't. Yeah, I see people in the gym. There's a few lads there this morning. I'm like, they're in superb shape. I don't want to make the sacrifices I need to make to look like that. It's not that important to me. If it is that important to you, then yeah, it might be worth making those sacrifices. But for me personally, it isn't. So it's not just as easy as why does this take this? And sometimes it's just down to our bodies. Some people find it easier to build certain areas. Some areas take over, some areas don't. So muscle building just isn't, it's not, changing the comp of your body. It isn't as easy. I find it dead easy to build my chest. My chest just reacts really, really well. I don't really need to lift heavy, right? Whereas my shoulders, I've worked on my shoulders, but I find it hard to build my shoulders. My arms, I find dead easy. I've always found that my arms have always reacted quite well through training. I find it dead easy. Shoulders really hard, smaller areas. So it's just, it's just different. Whereas there's lads in the gym and they've got, great big lats like that, but the chests are, and it's just different strokes for different folks. It's sometimes it's hard to answer, but if you are trying to build an area, concentrate on it. Do a little bit on here, a little bit on here, a little bit on here, but then really concentrate on it. I've been working on my arms a little bit this year, and I never used to specifically do an arm day. I do now, twice a week sometimes, where I just literally 45 minutes train bicep, tricep, and I've put that dedication in, and I've seen the difference. So sometimes it's hard to answer the question. What's the optimal steps to take daily for weight loss? There isn't one really. Weight loss isn't about doing a specific number of steps. It's just about putting yourself into a calorie deficit. Now, I would like, and this isn't just for weight loss, but we always use the generic number 10,000 steps a day. It's a good number, and it's actually been proven in recent years to be a very good target number for a lot of different things. Health, calories, the amount of calories you burn, and it's also a number that's quite easy to fit in. It is. We've got to be honest with that. Anyone here watching this now, I'm not trying to trigger you if you're not doing 10,000 steps a day, if you're struggling to do it. But if you are physically able and your determination's there, anyone that's ever done 10,000 steps in a day, whether you can consistently do it, at the end of the day, it's not the bit, and again, some might be like, well, that is a lot of hard work. I personally don't think it is. I think it's worth it. I left the house this morning at 6:45, and I've literally been to the gym, done 15 minutes on the cross trainer, walked around the gym for 35 minutes doing weights, come back to the car, I've potted around the house, I've done a few bits and pieces. It's 20 past 10 in the morning, I've done 4,200 steps. I've not even been for a walk yet today, and I've done nearly half of my daily step count. When the weather clears up a little bit, I'll be taking these two monkeys out for a walk, Blossom and Wilma. We'll just go out for 20, 25 minutes. And again, more pottering around the house and dog walk. I'll be at 7,500 steps. Then I'm going to go and pick Rachel up. We're nipping out shopping after that. So that'll do another 500 to 1,000 steps, 8,500. Then when I come back from shopping at about 7:30 to 9, take the dogs out again for another 20, 25 minutes, and I'll be at 10,000 steps. I've never done any walk longer than 20, 25 minutes. I've just potted around a little bit throughout the day. But that's my daily routine. And I don't find that now, you might be sat there going, flipping heck, you've been to the gym, you've done 2 dog walks, it's my lifestyle. So that's why I don't find it tough. But it could be your lifestyle. It's nothing special. I don't do anything special. I don't go, 2-hour walks every single day. I've got friends that do that. I can't be arsed doing that. And if I did that, I might do 20,000 steps a day. Can't be bothered. So, 10K is, if you can do 10K a day on average, it's going to massively improve your overall health. It's going to massively improve your energy levels. Energy builds energy. Anyone on this live now that's like, I've just got no energy. How much do you move? I always use the analogy of a wind turbine. How much electricity does a wind turbine generate? Electricity is energy. How much electricity does a wind turbine generate doing that? This is you. This is your sedentary lifestyle. You're the wind turbine that's just doing that. Doesn't generate very much, does it? How much electricity does a wind turbine generate doing that? Loads. And this is someone that does 10,000 steps a day. They generate loads of energy, right? The fitter and healthier you are, the more energy you have on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't mean if you have a very energetic day or a day where you do a lot of movement, you'll be tired at the end of the day. But remember, there is a difference between energy and tiredness. There is a bit of an overlap, but there is a difference, right? Energy builds energy, right? If you're not very fit and healthy, just doing basic everyday tasks, putting the shopping away, probably knacker you out. Whereas it shouldn't. I remember the first time I went shopping on my weight loss journey. Got a trolley, went into Tesco, was probably in there for about 40 minutes, unpacked the conveyor belt, packed the bags up, put them in. I had to sit in the car for about 25 minutes after that, sweating, in February, sweating my nuts off, right? I've been to a bloody supermarket shopping. Don't get me wrong, it's moving about and it's lifting a few bits and pieces, right? But I was absolutely knackered. I was more knackered walking around Tesco's for 40 minutes 11 years ago than I am now when I do a 45-minute spin class where my heart rate averages 150 beats per minute. Now, I'd be mortified if I went to Tesco and it tired me out. I'd be mortified if a 25-minute dog walk knackered me out. Now, again, I'm not saying this to trigger you, but if that's where you're at the moment, that is a sign that you need to work on your health. You need to work on your fitness levels because it'll make everything better. It just does. And it'll make weight loss better. It'll make weight loss easier. So 10,000 steps a day is just a good one. It's just a good generic number. If you do any more than that's a bonus, right? It's just a good generic target, Joan and Air said, I'm giving myself a target of 13K a day. That's a lot. That's a really good level of movement. As long as it's sustainable, as long as it fits in. Now, Joan, what I wouldn't do there is I would not stick, and this is another thing, you don't need to stick to specific targets. If you do 10,000 steps every single day and that's it, and that's your cutoff, once I've done 10,000, I'm not moving. At the end of the week, you've done 70,000 steps. If you do 15,000 steps Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then do 3,500 steps Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at the end of the week, you've still done 70,000 steps. So there's ways that we can look at it that makes it more sustainable, more flexible. More flexible something is, the easier it is to hit. You know, if your set daily target is 10,000 a day, right? And on a Monday you do 7,000, instantly you failed yourself. And then you're like, oh, God, I can't even do flipping Monday, let alone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if you set yourself a target of doing 10,000 steps in an average and you do 7,000 on Monday, and you look at it, and rather than going, oh, I've only done 7,000 today, you're right, I've done 7,000 today, so I need to do 11,000 tomorrow and 12,000 Wednesday. But my Tuesday, Wednesdays are always a lot more chilled than Monday, so that shouldn't be a problem. And you do that, you can pull it back, right? Likewise, you can take the pressure off yourself. You know, I did 14,500 steps on Monday. I did 12,000 on Tuesday, and I think I did 13,500 yesterday. My target is to average 10,000 steps a day. I'm already well above that average. For the first 3 days, I'm averaging 13,000 steps a day. So it just takes the pressure off. I'm never playing catch up. Now, if I keep up with my daily average that I'm doing already, I'm going to do loads of steps at the end of the week. Great. But if I end up having a lazy Sunday because I want one, I want to sit on the sofa all day, or because I'm not feeling too good, or whatever, you're still hitting a good target. Does that make sense? You know, I hope my watch to 15K. Again, you know, you can set any target you want. You know, I chat to Steve, my postie. He does 25, 30,000 steps a day. It's his job. He ticks it off, right? It's a great level of movement. Now, his 30,000 steps a day is probably the equivalent of me doing 15. Why? Because his body, he does it day in, day out, sometimes 6 days a week if he does overtime on a Saturday. Your body does adapt. So Steve doing 30,000 steps a day, if I did 30,000 steps a day and Steve did 30,000 steps a day, I would burn way more calories than him because my body's adapted, you know. So it's just, but the big thing about anything we do for weight loss is you're not doing it for weight loss. You're doing it for life. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They're literally like, right, I've got 3 stone to lose. I'm going to lose it in 6 months. So to lose this 3 stone, I'm going to eat 1,200 calories a day. I'm going to do 20,000 steps a day. I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. You might be able to do that for 6 months. You might be able to put the dedication in and make the sacrifices to do that. But if after 6 months you hit your goal and then you end up going back to doing 5,000 steps a day, eating 3,000 calories a day, and not going to the gym, you're just going to yo-yo diet. Whatever you're doing today to lose weight, you should be happy to do it in a year, whether you've got a weight issue or not. 2 years, 10 years. If you're doing 13,000 steps a day today, you should be happy to do that in 4 years' time. Even if you've hit your goal, you still need to keep the things that you've put in place to lose your weight still need to be in place to maintain those losses. The only thing that needs to change is the amount of food you eat, right? You will be more in a calorie maintenance and a calorie deficit when you hit your goal. Nothing else should change. Steps you're doing, controlling your calories, looking at your food, portion sizes, you know, and you might be sat there going, well, I don't want to lose weight I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I'm sorry, you're susceptible to weight gain. You know, a type 1 diabetic might not want to inject insulin for the rest of their lives, but they have to do it, right? We've all got our issues. And if you've got issues, you've got to put things in place to sort them out. And you've got to put things in place to sort them out permanently, not for a week or a month. You know, an alcoholic doesn't go, right, I'm an alcoholic, I just won't drink alcohol for 3 months, then I'll start drinking alcohol again. Well, you're going to be an alcoholic again, you know. Drug addict. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll stop taking heroin for 3 months, right? And then once I've proved myself I can't do it, I'll start doing it again. Well, no, because you're just still a drug addict. And I don't think we ever look at weight issues as severe as that. But that's basically what you're saying to yourself. I'm going to do Slimming World for 6 months and then go back to my old habits. So you're still a food addict. You're still an emotional eater, right? You managed to put a pause button on it for 6 months while you go into Slimming World, but you're not making any changes. And this is where we go wrong. And this is where yo-yo dieting comes in. And this is why so many people end up just on a weight loss journey, or what feels like a weight loss journey, for 20 years. Because you're not willing to make permanent changes. Or you're not doing a method that naturally will make permanent changes. You know? I've lost 6 stone now, but I want to focus on building more muscle. What's the best way to do it? Building muscle is simple. You can build muscle in a calorie deficit, right? Don't worry about it. If you still want to lose body fat and build muscle, you can do that. To build muscle, you need to eat a decent amount of protein. If you've never lifted weights before, again, you don't need to worry about a number. You just need to make sure every main meal has got a decent amount of protein in it. What's a decent amount of protein? Fist size, something like that. You know, have you got a full chicken breast on your tea? No, I've just got pasta and tomato sauce. Right, well, it's not got much protein in it. Have you got, you know, a good source of protein for your breakfast? No, I'm having Frosties. Right, well, have yogurt. It's a source. Have eggs. Right, get some protein in. Have a flipping cottage pie if you want. I'm not Bob. You know, you don't just have to eat what we class as breakfast food for breakfast. Right, you know. Get a decent amount of protein in. You know, get it in, right? And then train, lift weights, progressively overload, right? Train to failure, push yourself in the gym. That's it. That's all you need to do. Keep it simple. It takes time. It takes years. You want to build a decent amount of muscle. It doesn't happen. It takes years and years and years of consistency and training and effort and hard work. And again, if you're not willing to make that commitment, you know, don't get me wrong. You go to a gym and train for 3 months, you will see a difference in your physique. The more you train, the slower that difference will change. So, you know, the difference you make in your physique at the very start of your journey in 3 months, in 3 years' time, it could take you 12 months to make those same changes, right? You might build in the first 3 months of your journey 6 pounds of muscle. All right. If you've been training consistently for 3 years, to build 6 pounds of muscle will take you a year. All right. So, you know, that's just the way it is. I had a pop in my calf this morning. Ouch. Hopefully that it could just be a very tiny little tear. It could sometimes just be a release. Yeah. So all I would say, Gavin, is just watch it a little bit. Hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. Certainly with walking, you know, and just while you sat at your desk today, grip your toes, stretch your toes out. Yeah. Push your heels into the floor, lift your toes up a little bit, you know, put your toes raise your heels a little bit, see what the movement's like in the calf. If it's extremely painful, don't push it too far. Bit of ibuprofen, take some anti-inflammatories, get hydrated. And, you know, I get pops and clips in my muscles all the time. And sometimes like, what have I done there? And generally 9 times out of 10, it's not too bad. If it is a little tear, it will only be a small. And if it sets you back a week or so, I wouldn't panic too much. It's just time will tell, you know. My motto is choose your hard. Absolutely. And it's a really good, you know, it's a very, very common one, that. And, you know, it's like, is it hard to go to the gym 3 or 4 days a week? Yeah. Is it hard to build a routine of doing 10,000 steps a day? Yeah. Is it hard to be consistent with tracking calories? Yeah. But it's a lot easier than constantly being miserable and unhappy with your weight. And depending on how severe your weight issue is, you know, me tracking my calories every single day is a piece of piss compared to trying to drag my carcass, my 37, 38 stone carcass, to the bathroom and go to the toilet. Right? Miles easier. Getting 10,000 steps in every single day, or on average over a day, is miles easier than crying myself to sleep at night because I'm in so much pain. Right? Going to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, you know, some people might see it as hard. Well, for me, it's miles easier than, you know, constantly living in the guilt of everything that goes in my mouth and just beating myself up and being in this constant vicious circle of I hate myself because I'm so fat, but I'm so fat because I overeat, but I overeat because I flipping hate myself because I'm so fat. That is 10 times harder than going to the gym, tracking calories, getting my steps in. It is. Now, don't get me wrong, our mind controls us. It's an addiction, and you've got to break that addiction to make the changes. It's not just a case of going, no, you're right, that is. But we've got to have a trigger somewhere to go, yeah, you nothing's as hard as living at 37 stone. Nothing, right? That I do now is anywhere near as tough, right? And that's why I'll never go back there. So it is right about, choosing your hard. It is, but we've got to be honest with that. We've got to be honest with that. I've got to go very, very shortly. Very, very shortly. Why does time just disappear? I love doing these lives. I really, really do. And I love it when we go down some different roads. And, it might have been yesterday. Sometimes the lives can get quite serious. Sometimes they can be quite intense at times. I think we need that at times, because I never set out, whenever I do social media lives, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, I never set out with topics in mind. I never set out with what we're going to discuss today. I kind of go with the flow. It just what triggers in here, and I just waffle, right? And it could just be a comment on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It doesn't matter. But I think sometimes we need to, sometimes we just need to hear some honest truths. And if you're currently really unhappy with your weight, we can sort that out. But you've got to want to do it, right? And you've got to realize life's better. Life can be so much better, but it isn't easy. But it will be worth it as long as you're willing to put the effort in. Can you chat about mindset for your next live? I chat about things all the time. If you're struggling with your weight loss journey, I am a one-to-one weight loss coach. I do these lives for free. They don't pay my mortgage. If you want to help me pay my mortgage, I'm not meaning to sign up. I'm all right. But I am a one-to-one weight loss coach. And if you are genuinely struggling and you need more help, I'm a coach. I've got a deal on at the moment. It's 15 quid to join my one-to-one plan. And if you're talking about mindset, I'll talk about mindset with you all the time when you come on plan. We do lives all the time in the community when you're on plan around mindset. My plan itself will change your mindset. When you check in with me, every time I send you a response, it will change your mindset. We can do it together, So it's 15 quid to sign up to my one-to-one plan, and then it's $29.99 a month for a minimum of 3 months. You come on my plan, you invest, it's 105 quid, but it's spread out. At the moment, it's 105 quid for 3 months of one-to-one coaching with me. It will change 100% the way you look at weight loss, the way you do weight loss, and you'll get some amazing results, you'll get some amazing results. So, come get on board. Now, Paul has just asked there, when am I covered till for my yearly subscription? I've had a lot of you asking me this at the moment because I think, obviously, I've got my yearly deal on as well. 260 quid, one-off payment, full 12 months, one-to-one weight loss coaching with me, right? If anyone's interested in coming on board with me, TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, click on my link tree. First tab in my link tree is an inquiry form. Send an inquiry. There's no obligation. I'm not going to batter you with emails or messages. Sign up. Touch base with me. I'll send you the details. I'll send you one email and one WhatsApp. Hiya, these are the details for email. And I'll send you WhatsApp. I've sent the email over to you. Have a look. Got any questions? Ask away. Right? That's it. If I don't then hear from you, you'll never hear from me. Right? If you're like, he's all right, this guy. Talk some sense. Think he can help me. Come get signed up. Right? Again, TikTok profile, click on my link tree. Facebook page, YouTube page. Click on that link tree. Underneath the inquiry form is a little shop. It's got my monthly one-to-one, my yearly one-to-one. Click on those. All the details. Everything that I'd email you directly is on my website. All the details are there. The difference between sending over an inquiry form is if you've then got any further questions, you can email me back or WhatsApp me back and I'll answer them for you. but come get on board. I was going to ask 2 on Friday. Right, yearly one-to-ones. Most of you are signed up till the end of October, I think. Maybe a little bit longer. I've had 2 people ask me that this morning. WhatsApp me. Paula, you're covered until... Paula, you're actually covered till the end of the year. You're done till the end of the year. So you're sorted until the end of December. And Callum... where's Callum? Got you somewhere, Callum. I don't know where you are. Why are you not in my thing? Oh, you are. Oh, you're there. Callum, you're the same, mate. You're covered till the end. You're covered into January, actually, Callum. So you're all good. Yeah, because I did when I do my Black Friday offer, and I do a Black Friday offer at the end of November. I think I offer a really good deal for that one for the year. But I still ask you to pay your direct debit for November, December, and then your year kicks in. So if you sign up at the end of November, and the Black Friday deal will be similar to the deal that I've got on now, right? Now, don't get me wrong. If you've like, no, I'm going to do another year with you, Neil, and you've come into a couple of quid, or you've got the cash at the moment, and you just want to get it out there, message me. Anyone that's on a year already, message me, because I will do you a little bit. I'll put a little bit of sugar on top. You know that. You support me, I'll always help you guys out. So if you're like, yeah, no, we'll get going. I'm happy to commit for another year. Then just message me and we'll sort you out. All right, you know that. I'll always do that. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, anyone that's deal runs out, the current summer deals run out at the end of August, and then the next deals that'll probably come will be around that Black Friday towards the end of November. Again, when things slow down a little bit. No deals in September, October. I'm too busy for that. That's not happening. Right, guys, that's me. I am aiming to get to goal before it runs out. That's fine. And then you might be like, I'm all good now. Which is, again, all good. If you don't want to continue, that's absolutely fine. But Paul, yeah, you'll get to go. You've got till the end. You're done to the end of the year. You're covered up until 2026. Then get on with maintenance. That's what we're all about. Right, I think we're all good. Will building muscle make last one for me? Will building muscle make loose skin less noticeable? Honest answer for me personally, yeah, I think it does. I think it does. Like I say, I've not got tons of, I've lifted weights for a lot of years. I'm not a bodybuilder by any means, but would this arm look worse if I didn't go to the gym? I think it would, because it does. These do fill up a bit. Like I say, I've still got loose skin. I've still got quite a lot of loose skin. But if I didn't go to the gym and train, would my loose skin be down here rather than just sat here? Yeah, it would. Right? Now, like I say, I'm not saying I've got look, but I personally feel it makes my loose skin look a bit better. You might be sat there going, what muscle? It might be, even if it's all in my head, I couldn't give a toss, even if it's a placebo, and I feel, and it makes me feel better. Right? But yeah, it will do. You'll never build enough muscle to fill your loose skin, right? Depending on how much loose skin you've got. I've got a lot. I used to be 37 stone, right? Even if I took performance enhancing drugs, if I took PEDs, got on a bit of gear, right? Yeah, I'd build more muscle, but would it build enough muscle to fill? No, I've got ridiculous amounts of loose skin. But yeah, personally for me, training, this, that, and the other, it masks it a little bit, distracts me from it, if that makes sense. I'm definitely going now. I'm out of here. Let me scan up, see if I missed anything. I don't think I am. Right, I am. I'm out of here. I've got to go. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I will be back I'll be back this evening. It'll just be on TikTok. So if you only follow me on Facebook, YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. I've got TikTok. Well, I won't see you this evening then. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, the live, I think I've scheduled it at 11. It's going to be a bit earlier. I might try and do 8:30. I quite like my 8:30, 9:30 live. Seems to be a very popular live. Seems to be when people sort of join in quite a lot. They might still be this time of year, summer holidays. With kids might still be chilled in bed and they can stick it on, or they're just having the breakfast. I know at this time of day, more people are out and about, So it's, what is your total weight? Mine at the moment is around about 275, about 275 pounds down, I think. I might be over exaggerating that. Let me 266. 266 I am in total. So from what's that in stone, old school? About just over 19 at the moment. About 9 from the start of my journey. I'm about 19, something like that. So I'm about 19. So yeah, not too bad. 18, 19, somewhere in between that marker. So it's all right. It's all right. It's not bad. Another stone. I quite fancy getting to 20, if I'm being honest with you. 20 stone down. So that'd have me at 17. So I'm about 20 pounds away, I think, from that. So I've got a little bit to go. Don't think I'll do it by the end of the year. I don't want to do it by the end of the year. That might be the end of it. I don't think I'll do it by the end of the year, but I also don't really want to do weight loss next year. I'm hoping to do weight maintenance. So I'm probably just going to go for the rest of the year now. I was and ahhing with doing a weight maintenance, concentrating on doing some muscle building and this, that, and the other. I don't think I am now because my focus is going away in 3 weeks. I want to carry on weight loss before going away. When I get back from that, I'm going away again in 4 weeks after that. So again, that'll be weight loss focused. When I get back from Tenerife in October, it's about 10 weeks till Christmas. So I'll be concentrating on weight loss going into Christmas. So I am just going to be now calorie deficit. There's going to be a couple of bumps on the scales from a couple of holidays, especially the October holiday. It's all inclusive. So I know I always go a little bit wild all inclusive. So that's just the way it is. But I wouldn't mind getting that. I was just under 17 stone when I was personal training in 2019. I'd love to get back down to that weight. I can do it. I know I can do it. It's just time frames. But I think I'm going to try and get down to whatever I get down to by Christmas. This is my current target. I'm going to keep going, get to what I get to by Christmas. After Christmas, everyone goes into a calorie deficit in January. I'm going to lose my post Christmas weight. Once I lose that, as soon as I lose it, whether that's 2 weeks into January or it's by the end of Feb, then I think I'm just going to work on maintaining next year. So I don't know what I'll call the weekly weight loss vlogs then. I'll call them the weekly maintaining vlogs or something like that. That's my mission. And then if I decide to go any more, that'll be 2027. Or after having 3 or 4 months of doing maintenance, I'm like, right now I'm going to go into a weight loss phase again. I don't know. I'm always toying around. It's nice to have that control and that power to go, should I lose weight? Should I maintain? It's quite nice to be in that position, as it were. Right, that's me. I am going. I've got to go. Right, just on TikTok, I'll be back 4:15, something like that. On Plan in the Community, I'll send you a broadcast out. If you're not on Plan, not in the community, come get signed up. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube page. Just find my link tree. It's in my Instagram as well. Click on it, send over an inquiry form, touch base with me, I'll send you all the details. Guys, have a great Thursday if I don't see you. I'll be back tomorrow morning, probably about 8:30ish, I think, tomorrow morning. But if you follow me on TikTok, hopefully I'll see you in a few hours. I'm just sat here picking chia seeds out my teeth. Thinking, I've ended the live, it's all good. I haven't. Facebook, YouTube. If you follow me on TikTok, I'll see you in a few hours. If not,